Some news just exploded yesterday, and it's all about Shannon Sharpe. If Shannon had just listened to Monique, he might have dodged this whole disaster. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Go find you an older woman who knows how to love you. Chilling, right? That clip aged like a prophecy. If you've been online recently, you've probably stumbled across the name Carly, not for her OnlyFans content, but because she's now at the center of a jaw-dropping legal and media storm involving NFL legend Shannon Sharpe and powerhouse attorney Tony Busby. What started as an eyebrow-raising podcast episode quickly exploded into a full-blown controversy that's raising serious questions about defamation, online influence, and the fine line between clout and consequences. Turns out, Sharpe met someone back in 2023. She was just 19 at the time, and now things have spiraled into chaos. He was out here trying to run with the young crowd, and it's blowing up in his face. Gabby and attorney Tony Busby are demanding a whopping $50 million, and now they're being hit with a countersuit for defamation. The internet's on fire with updates, and I held off speaking until more info dropped, and I'm glad I did, because wow, the situation just keeps getting messier. It all kicked off when Carly appeared on Shannon Sharpe's podcast, Club Shay Shay. Now, this wasn't just another chill conversation. Carly didn't just hint at drama. She dropped a bombshell, insinuating some deeply personal and damaging things about a high-profile individual. She never named names, but her descriptions were so specific, so pointed, that the internet immediately began connecting the dots. Before long, people were convinced she was talking about none other than Tony Busby. Now, Tony Busby isn't just anyone. He's a well-known lawyer, especially in Texas, with a reputation for handling high-stakes cases and winning them. So when he caught wind of Carly's remarks, he didn't take it lightly. In fact, he hit back hard with a $50 million defamation lawsuit. Yes, you heard that right, $50 million. And it wasn't just aimed at Carly. Shannon Sharpe got swept up in it too, as the host who platformed her allegations. Let's rewind. Last week, it was reported Shannon Sharpe might score a deal worth over $100 million with Colin Cowherd's network. Things were looking like a dream. After skyrocketing success with Club Shay Shay and Nightcap, Sharpe was on top. And then, here comes Tony Busby, yes, the same guy who represented more than 20 women against Deshaun Watson, filing a massive $50 million lawsuit against Sharpe. The charges? Assault, sexual assault, battery, and more. That's when things really started to spiral. Busby claimed the podcast allowed Carly to spread lies that were not only false, but downright destructive to his career and personal life. And in his lawsuit, he painted the whole interview as a hit piece, carefully orchestrated, recklessly published, and deeply damaging. But here's where it gets even messier. Carly doubled down on her claims. She didn't backtrack. She didn't apologize. She said she was telling her truth and that she wasn't afraid of the legal threats coming her way. Carly didn't come out of nowhere. She's been building her name in the OnlyFans world for a while, curating the image of the bold, unfiltered online bombshell who says whatever she wants, whenever she wants. But she wasn't exactly a household name until one podcast episode changed everything. In a now viral clip, Carly sat across from a mic, sunglasses on indoors, oozing attitude. She casually claimed she'd been involved with none other than Shannon Sharpe. That's right, NFL Hall of Famer, Fox Sports host, and one of the most recognizable faces in sports media. And she wasn't subtle about it either. She didn't name him outright at first, but the way she described the encounter, everyone online connected the dots instantly. The internet went into detective mode, and all fingers pointed straight at Shannon. What made things even wilder, Carly didn't just imply a fling. She threw out intimate details, claimed he flew her out, and suggested he treated her like a plaything. And just like that, a chaotic NSFW and entirely unverified story took off like wildfire. TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, everyone had an opinion. And whether people believed her or not, one thing was clear. Carly had just hit the algorithm jackpot. Some laughed it off, some defended Shannon, but others, they believed her and started asking uncomfortable questions about power dynamics, consent, and reputation. It didn't take long for things to get messy. Shannon Sharpe isn't new to controversy, but this one was different. At first, he said nothing. Total silence. No tweets, no rebuttal, no cryptic Instagram stories. Just complete radio silence while the internet exploded around his name. That only fueled the fire. People started wondering, was he hiding something? But then the silence broke. Shannon took to his platform not with rage, but with sharp precision. He didn't name Carly either, but the subtext was clear. He dismissed the claims as desperate clout chasing, a stunt, a fabricated story by someone chasing headlines and engagement, and the message was crystal. He wasn't playing along. Still, the damage was done. Memes were everywhere. Edits of Shannon's Club Shay Shay show now included clips of Carly. Even legitimate sports outlets started covering the story. Not for its truth, but because it had officially become too loud to ignore. That's when Shannon made his next move. He lawyered up. But not just with anyone, he called in one of the most feared legal names in the business, Tony Buzbee, the same attorney who represented NFL players in major cases and has a reputation for going nuclear in court. That's when people realized this wasn't just internet noise anymore. Shannon was taking this personal. Now the question wasn't just, did this happen? It was, how far is Shannon willing to go to protect his name? With Tony Buzbee in his corner, Shannon Sharpe wasn't playing games anymore. The lawyer immediately took action, sending a cease and desist letter to Carly. The message was simple: stop spreading these lies or face legal consequences. This wasn't just a legal move, it was a statement. Tony Buzbee's name alone was enough to send a chill down anyone's spine. He had already made waves in the legal world, and his presence meant that Shannon wasn't just defending his reputation, but he was also preparing for a courtroom showdown if needed. Carly, on the other hand, didn't back down. Instead of retreating, she fired back, claiming that the story was true, and she had evidence to prove it. Carly was used to being at the center of controversy. She'd built her career on it. So she wasn't about to let some legal threat stop her from pursuing what she believed was a truth worth sharing. But the stakes were about to get higher. Carly's fans rallied behind her, calling out Shannon as a toxic celebrity who couldn't handle the heat. Some accused him of using his status and wealth to intimidate her into silence. On the other side, Shannon's supporters saw this as a straight-up attack on his character, and they weren't willing to let her get away with it. As the back and forth continued, Tony Buzbee made it clear, if Carly didn't retract her statements and apologize publicly, Shannon would sue for defamation. It wasn't just a matter of reputation anymore. It was about protecting his livelihood, his career, and his personal brand. The legal pressure mounted, and people began to wonder, how far would this go? Would this end in court, or was there some middle ground where both sides could save face? The drama wasn't just about the lawsuit, it was about two powerful forces colliding head-on, and the world was watching to see who would come out on top. As the case continued to unfold, public opinion was split down the middle. Some sided with Carly, believing she had the right to share her story, while others felt Shannon Sharpe's reputation was under unjust attack. The media frenzy escalated, with both sides leveraging their platforms to build a narrative. In the end, however, the lawsuit didn't go to trial. The two sides reached a settlement, though the details remained under wraps. The cease and desist was followed by an official retraction from Carly, and Shannon Sharpe walked away without further public damage to his reputation. It was a bitter conclusion to what could have been a defining legal battle, but it was clear that both parties had reached a point of exhaustion. Despite the settlement, the controversy didn't completely fade. People continued to debate the truth behind Carly's claims, and the question remained, had Shannon Sharpe really done what Carly accused him of? Or had she just sought attention? The ambiguity around the whole ordeal left a lingering cloud over the story, with some still unconvinced by the retraction. Shannon, for his part, returned to his regular life. His position as a respected sports analyst and media personality remained largely intact, but some fans were left with a sense of unease. The shadow of this scandal would likely never fully disappear. Carly, meanwhile, went on to continue building her OnlyFans empire, capitalizing on the publicity she gained from the scandal. Despite the legal battle, her career remained as controversial and as profitable as ever. As for Tony Buzbee, his reputation as a powerful, no-nonsense attorney grew even stronger. The case may not have made it to court, but it certainly made waves, proving once again that when you've got a high-profile lawyer like Buzbee on your side, you're never really out of the game. In the end, this saga was a reminder of how celebrity drama, legal battles, and public perception often intertwine. It was a wild ride, and though it may have ended in a quiet settlement, the story of Shannon Sharpe, Tony Buzbee, and Carly would continue to spark conversations for years to come.